Dear students, welcome back in my class of CIS 2168 Data Driven Design. This is part 3rd video lecture on session tracking. We are in week number 8 and the objective for part 3 session is given in the next slide. So in part 2 we completed these 3 objectives. Completed these 3 in part 2 video lecture. Now in part 3 we'll cover these 3, and as I said, the last 3 objectives will cover during the tutorial session. So practically, when you will write the code, programming code, you will complete these 3 objectives during the tutorial session by writing the code and handling the data, which will be in the form of log file or CSV file. So these 3 objectives, the last 3 objectives, you will complete during the tutorial session, and in part 3 the focus is on objective 4 and objective 5. So as objective 4 is on web tracking, so the next slide is given to explain what does backtracking means. So web tracking is basically a practice performed by operator of the website. Suppose I have a website and the name of my website is www.abc.com. So this is my website, and what I want to do, I want to track the user or the client's detail who is visiting my website. So that is why the first point is given. Web tracking is the practice performed by the operator of the website. So this website belongs to me, that is to Hari. So Hari will keep, so operator of the website will track the information about what user is doing or what request or what activities this user is performing. So this is what web tracking is. So what the operator will do, so better let me write operator, otherwise it will create confusion. So what operator will do, by tracking the activities of this user, operator will perform several tasks. Like operator will perform the activities like collecting the information, storing the information, and sharing the information about visitor activities. So whatever activities this visitor is performing, the operator will collect the information, store the information, and share the information. So collecting, storing, and sharing. These 3 tasks will be performed by the operator to whom this website belongs. So this is what operator will do in web tracking. And why operator is doing all these, operator is performing these activities, that is collecting, storing on, and sharing the information, because operator want to analyze users behavior. That is why collecting the information, storing the information, and sharing the information. And why operator want to analyze users behavior? Because to provide content that enables operator to infer their preference. So this information, collecting the information, storing the information, and sharing the information, these 3 things will enable the operator to fulfill the need of the user or the visitor. If the visitor need will not be fulfilled, then visitor will not going to use the website. So in order to understand what is the need of this visitor, operator is performing these activities. So it will enable the operator to understand the behavior of this visitor and accordingly fulfill the need of this visitor according to their preference. And it may be of interest of various parties. So this is the first thing operator can do. Or the second activities operator can do is operator can collect all these information, like what this visitor or user is performing, and then after collecting the information, this operator can share it with other parties such as advertisers, so that other parties will use the information of the behavior of this visitor and accordingly provide the details or provide the information of their product for growing their business. This is what operator can do. Now the last point is web tracking can be a part of visitor management. So using the web tracking, this method, operator can manage the visitor. So here visitor management is not providing the coffee or tea. Here visitor management is fulfilling the need of this visitor. What visitor is searching for, so whatever he is searching, accordingly provide the information to the visitor. So it is a process of visitor management. So for visitor management, operator need to understand what is the behavior of the visitor and accordingly provide the data or information to the visitor. So it is a process of visitor management. Now in the next slide, I have explained how you will perform web tracking and what are the elements required in order to perform web tracking. So here you can see you will write your website. Suppose you are creating your website using JavaScript or PHP or any other programming language. So this is what you are using a programming language for website, and you are adding the cookies with your code. So what is the benefit of this? So before knowing the benefit, we need to understand what does cookies means, and it is explained in the next slide. So I will explain what is the meaning of cookies and its benefit in the next slide with the help of one block diagram. So here you can see cookies are small text files stored by the browser and sent with each request to the client. Suppose client is here and this client is using a system, his computer system, and on this computer system he is using a browser, web browser, and the web browser is for some product. Let's say this web browser he is using for online banking. So he is using the bank website, let's say www.bank1.com. So what will happen when this user will enter this URL in this browser, and when the browser, this website will get opened, so the operator will send a file, and the file which will be sent by the operator is nothing but text file, and this text file is the cookies. And why these cookies are sent? Because the operator want to store the information about the client request for future use. So that is why sometimes we get accept the cookies. This type of message we generally get whenever we open any website or we send any request through the website. So we get the message accept the cookies to process or to continue. And when you will accept, your request or your detail will get stored in the text file, and this text file will be used by the operator for future use. And the same process is explained with the help of this block diagram. So what will happen? Client will use a browser to send the request. So this is the first block. So client is here, or visitor is here. So visitor will use the web browser to send the request. When visitor will send the request, it will move to the next page, that is server send contents to and cookies. So like in my example, I mentioned that www.abc1.com is the bank detail. So this client is using this website, so sending the request for this. The request is this website, open this website. Server will send the website to client's machine. So when server will send the information to the client machine, so server will not only send this, server will add cookies also. And then browser will store the cookies. So you need to accept the cookies. So browser will store the cookies. Then browser send request plus cookies for any other request. So this is for request 1. You are making another request R2, R3 or any other. So each time you will get browser will send request plus cookies. Server will use the cookies for personalized purpose. That is, server will use the cookies detail or the data given present in the cookies file for personalized purpose, like to store, share, and use. The data will be used to understand the visitor behavior, as I explained in the previous slide. Now the structure of the cookies will be like this: cookies name, cookies values, cookies attributes, Wednesday, some time information will be given, and we generally get this website will, if you will not use, then the session will expire in 10 minutes. This type of message generally we get for any particular website. And this is cookies attributes. Some more examples are given here for cookies attributes. So you can see here, cookies delete after a given date and time, for security purpose. For JavaScript, cookies is not available to JavaScript. Such things are given here. Lastly, I have given the block diagram for JavaScript tracking. Client sends the request, server sends the response. So request will come from the user or visitor or the client. Then server will send the response to the client. When server will send the response to the client, client parse the response. So parsing the response is nothing but the parser you used for the file. Then client get JavaScript from tracking server. Then tracking server creates a unique tracking JavaScript file. Then client run the tracking JavaScript file. So this tracking JavaScript file is for tracking the session for the client. Then tracking JavaScript sends the tracking data. So after storing the data, the data will be sent back to the server, and then it will be stored in the log file. And this log file, or sometimes we use CSV file, will be used for session tracking. So at the end you will get the file, and this file will be used for session tracking. So this is all about the session tracking. So this block diagram is showing the steps which you will perform while performing the session tracking during the tutorial session. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much. See you in the class.